Hello, hello, hello. We're back. It's another match preview. Orlando City versus the reigning champs, Portland. Ron is with us as always. Just it's me and Ron and whoever else comes on. Say hello, Ron.
Hey guys.
And Steven from Radio Cascadia and Prost Amerika is with us. Say hello, Steven.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me again. Delighted to be back.
Absolutely love having you. I was on Steven's podcast on Monday. We'll jump right in. We snuck out a point. We snuck out 3 points of NYCFC last week. Ron, how do you think that performance goes into this game on Sunday?
I don't know that game in NYCFC. I don't think you take much from that game at all. I don't know that you take much from the first three games. I think it's kind of we're restarting the season. It was good to get out of the first three games unbeaten, but we've seen two or three red cards already through the first two games, and then the NYCFC game, Orlando City was pretty much thoroughly dominated, but snuck out with a 1-0 victory. If you want to be a good team, you want to make the playoffs, you're going to have to do that sometimes over the course of the season. But I don't know that we take much from what we've seen. We obviously haven't seen Kaká up to this point, but we will on Sunday night. So I think that's really affected Orlando City's ability to not be able to possess the ball, which is a stark contrast from what we saw last year. So yeah, I think that like I said, I think it's kind of restarting the season almost, and I think this is a good measuring stick for Orlando City to see how good are they really, because Portland will be the stiffest test of this young season, and Portland's obviously loaded. So yeah, it'll be good to see what Orlando City needs to work on, what they're doing well. But Orlando City tends to play to their competition level, so I'm expecting a really good, thrilling game on Sunday night.
All right, and Steven, we know Portland's had some mixed results and a really nasty rain game. What do you think they can take from their first three games and bring it into this game versus us in Orlando?
I think Portland has hit the ground running, at least the most solidly of the three Cascadian sides. The loss at San Jose is a little bit fluky for me. I think they really dominate the first half hour of that match and aren't able to get anything out of it. Quincy Amarikwa wonder goal and another strike from Wando sink them there. They looked really good in the opener against Columbus, and then it's kind of a strange, lifeless performance against RSL. They're up 2 men by the end of the match, and they can only manage a 2-2 draw. I would say the system's really set for Portland. The lineup looks pretty set, pretty comfortable, and I think they might be the team who picked up from where they left off last year, maybe the best of anyone in the league, even if the results haven't shown it so far.
I'm glad you said their lineup set. So what do you expect from Portland starting 11?
So we'll see Kawarse in goal. You'll have Powell at right back, and then Liam Ridgewell is out for the Timbers, and so Jermaine Taylor, the former Dynamo center back, will partner Nat Borchers. On the left, Chris Clute, the Colorado Rapids acquisition from the offseason, is still out with injury, and it's Zarek Valentine who's been filling in there. He is probably the weakest point of the back four if it isn't Jermaine Taylor, and those two are the guys to watch as far as people Orlando could pick on. You move to the midfield, and Portland kind of start 3 in a row up the center of the pitch. Goes Chara, Nagby, Valeri, and then out wide you're going to get Milano and Asprilla with Fernando Adi up top as the lone striker.
Ron, same question to you, but for Orlando City.
Well, I think it could be a little bit tough. I think the back four probably stays the same. David Mateos is healthy, so potentially I guess you could see him come in for Seb Hines. I don't know that we'll see that just yet, but Tommy Redding isn't going anywhere. Adrian Heath said it's his job to lose for the young 19-year-old center back, and he played very well against NYCFC, so he will be staying. And we're going to see Breck Shea and Rafael Ramos and Bendik in goal, and I think they probably stick to the 4-2-3-1. I think it's what they play best. So you'll see Higuita and Seren in the holding roles. Obviously, Laren will be up top, and now the Kaká's back. It seems like we're in that same setup as last year. We're trying to figure out who the outside attacking mids are going to be. I think Molino stays on the right. I think we need to see if he can gain some sort of chemistry with Kaká. Again, Molino's been criticized a little bit, but he's coming off that ACL injury. I think we just need to give him more time. And he scored for Trinidad just a couple days ago. Last night, and then I would prefer obviously Carlos Rivas on the left. I think he can, he actually was a factor last year against Portland when we went out there and beat them. Will we see him? I don't know. It might be a better game for Adrian Vinter to start because Adrian Vinter will give you a better defensive shift, and I expect Portland to really attack us hard, especially wide. So, I think you'll have either Vinter or Rivas, but I think the rest of the lineup is pretty much set.
Why no Notarino on the left?
Obviously, he could play there. I wouldn't let him anywhere near the lineup. He's not fit to play. He can't play a full half, and he's gassed by probably the 35th minute, and then he's coming out 5-10 minutes into the second half. He does have some quality touch on the ball, but he seems pretty anonymous if he's played out wide like he has been or like he will be, especially with Kaká returning. I don't see the point in starting a player that can't get through a half. With 100% effort. I mean, he's gassed too early, and at this point, he just needs to build his fitness up. We knew it was going to be a problem, but I think he's a liability until he gains his fitness fully.
And Ron, what do you think Orlando needs to do to attack the players that Steven mentioned, the center half and the left back, and who do you think is best suited for that attack?
Well, Carlos Rivas can run at people. He can get behind people. Whether he'll start, I don't know. I'm actually more worried about Portland attacking Orlando City this week. I think NYCFC tried to go through the middle, and that really played to Orlando City's benefit last week. They kind of just clogged up the middle on that small field. And NYCFC, even though they had all the possession and they had a ton of chances, they didn't really have a ton of good chances to score. But if Portland will, guys like Valeri will they'll cross balls in just nonstop, and if Portland does that, I think that's where our center backs will struggle, is when the ball is in the air. So if Portland can get wide and attack our very susceptible, outside backs, especially Breck Shea, and then they're sending the balls in the middle, I think Portland could see a lot of success if we let them do that.
And Steven, what do you think about Portland's chances going by Ron's mean of attack?
I think that Portland can hurt you in just a lot of different ways. They have one of the most dynamic front sixes in the league. And fact is, you have a guy like, Milano, who's really an out-and-out winger, can score goals, can put in the last ball. You have Nagby, who's, a U.S. men's national team box-to-box midfielder and can score from distance, create, whatever you want. Adi is one of the best finishers in the league from inside the box. His hold-up play is excellent. Spria's super quick, and he can score a wonder goal from outside the box, too. And if you don't step up on Chara, he'll score from distance as well. So there's just a million ways that this Timbers side can get at you. They can beat you on the counter. They can beat you with speed. They can beat you with crosses. They can jam it down your throat down the middle. They can score from distance. They can score on set pieces. There's a lot of different ways this team can hurt you.
And who would you consider the most dangerous, or alternatively, the player that an Orlando City fan should watch?
I think it's Diego Valeri. If you shut him down, you take a big step towards shutting Portland down. Adi needs service. The other guys need service. And Valeri tends to be the guy that provides it. The other big thing, you have to find a way to cut off the connection from back to front. You can't let them link up, particularly not quickly. And that involves keeping Nagby and Valeri tightly marked out of space. You can't ever let them turn on the counter. You can't ever let them distribute. You can't ever let them pick their heads up, or they're going to pick you apart.
So, Ron, based on what Steven just said, it sounds like we're going to have a little midfield battle, and we'll play with that hypothetical. Let's say we do have a battle in the midfield, and it's Valeri and Nagby, and they're running at Seren and Higuita. How do you think we fare?
Well, I always like when Seren and Higuita are together. We know they'll do a job in the center, and they'll try to stifle Portland as much as you can stifle Portland. It's going to be a tough game. I agree with Steven. I think Portland's one of the best teams in the league, so it's going to be a real test for Orlando City. I think Orlando City hasn't been able to possess the ball really at all this season. Even when they were up a man, they struggled to possess the ball and then create things or have any sort of ideas going forward once they get to the final third. Kaká will help that out a lot. How fit is Kaká? I don't know. He says he's ready to play 90 minutes. Maybe he doesn't miss a beat. Maybe he looks lively and fresh. That's what I'm hoping. But I think we're going to see a different Orlando City attack this week than what we've seen through the first 3 weeks. Just out of the obvious of getting Kaká back and some guys more fit and healthy, like Carlos Rivas potentially. So it probably will be a midfield game, and that kind of scares me. Portland, Steven said there might be some weakness on defense, and and I'd be hard-pressed to pick a game where Kyle Laren wouldn't score. I mean, I feel like he almost is going to score one goal every game as long as we provide him enough opportunities. But, this is a great measuring stick to see where we are. Either we're going to play up to our competition and we're going to say we're for real and we're a real player in the East, or Portland's going to come and throttle us and we can kind of, lay down on the hype and say, okay, we need to get a little better. But I expect Portland to give it to us, and I don't know how Portland plays on the road, or if they'll sit back, or if they'll try to counter, or if they'll just play with reckless abandon. I'm not sure what we're going to see. But, either way, I think Kaká's going to have to be a big influence, and I think Orlando City's got to get back to possessing the ball. If they're not possessing the ball, I don't really see great things.
All right, well, Steven, what does Portland do on the road?
There are a couple of spots I want to jump in here, and the first is I think that this game is a battle of the two front sixes, where both have some holes in the defense, and both have just really, really great attacking players, skill players, flair players, and I think it's a question of which set of front sixes, create the most and finish the best, and I think it's going to be a real open, really exciting attacking game because of that. Portland on the road. To answer that, I want to start by going back to the Portland-Orlando game last year, where Portland sat back a little bit at home against Orlando to start, and you guys tore them apart, just picked them to pieces, and so Porter won't make that same mistake twice. The Timbers aren't afraid to go and try and possess anywhere. I would say that on the road, they're happy to sit back a little bit more and absorb a little bit more pressure to set themselves up well defensively, but they are so dangerous and so quick on the counter that it's less of a having the match dictated to them type thing, and more of a this is the strategy we believe gives us the best chance to get a result type thing, and they normally win because of it.
If they're going to play the counter, we're going to have a lot of trouble. That just because we have trouble in Chicago counters. So everyone who knows anything about MLS knows that Portland's better than Chicago. So, Ron, if it's going to be a counterattack by Portland, what do you think?
Well, that scares me. I don't think it's going to be just they're going to sit back the whole time and just wait to pounce. Portland's too good to really do that. I think they could beat us that way. But like Steven said, there's a whole wealth of different ways they could beat us, and I don't think Portland's going to. I think they'll want to control the game a little bit more than that, probably. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, this is going to be the first time Kaká's out there. We're going to see Orlando City in a very different light than we've seen them in the first 3 weeks. Portland probably is a little upset they don't have more points right now. So I think being the nationally televised Sunday night game, I think we're going to see, like Steven said, a wide open. I think the only way the game stays low scoring is if both teams just are wasteful with their chances. But Portland is probably the team I'm most excited to watch in all of MLS. This is definitely be one of the highlights of these first 2 years in Orlando.
And with the injuries in the back, Steven, how do you think Portland manages to contain or bottle up, whichever expression you would like to use, Kyle Laren?
That's the question of the game, isn't it? Is just how do Seren and Higuita deal with Adi? How does Chara deal with Laren and the center backs behind him for both guys? It's tougher without Ridgewell, obviously, but Borchers is an awfully good center back as well. They make up one of the best pairings in the league. However, I'm with you guys. I think Kyle Laren's just so dangerous, such a great soccer player, in such good form right now, and like the Portland attack, has so many different ways to beat you that I don't know that there is any game planning for him. I think that this one it's a matter of just I think somebody's going to outscore someone here probably. But if I could just add one more thing here, it's about Caleb Porter and game states. Caleb Porter plays to game states more than maybe any other manager in the league, and so we can sit here and we can talk about how these two front sixes are going to go at each other for a while. Once there's a goal, Portland's play style is going to alter accordingly. If they get the first goal, they'll sit back. Orlando will have the Lions' share of possession. Use the pun there. And if Portland give up the first goal, they'll probably come forward a lot more, and they'll probably possess a lot more and try and control the game. So really, I think we can only really predict this one up until the first goal.
And Ron, you looked like you were getting a little giddy when he was talking about Laren, so you want to chime in?
Oh, I was just laughing at his pun that everybody loves to use around here at the Lions share. But yeah, I mean, Kyle Aaron is, like I said, as long as they supply him some opportunities and cross him the ball, he's probably going to find a way to score this game. Will one goal be enough? I have no idea. But I completely agree with Steven. I mean, whoever scores the first goal, tactics are going to change. The team that is down a goal will be much more on the offensive and probably start controlling the game. So yeah, it'll be a tactical, it's going to be a great game. Like it's really hard to predict. If I had to predict something, I'm probably thinking a draw, just because I don't know which way to go. And Orlando's at home, so I'm hoping they can get out of this with some sort of result. But yeah, I mean it's early in the season, so it's really hard to tell exactly what we're going to see.
And Ron, last week I thought we saw our best performance from Bendik. If Portland is just going to attack us and get shots on goal and shots on goal, how do you think Bendik holds up?
Bendik's a really good shot stopper. I'm not sure he does anything else particularly well, or maybe above average, but if he prefers defenders just to get out of his line of sight and let him go make the save. Just kind of like I've been saying all along, we haven't really seen a true test from Bendik. He did make a couple key saves against NYCFC, but one of them, he's just positioned well and the ball gets blasted into his gut. Sometimes you get lucky with those, sometimes you don't. But I expect Portland to test Bendik a lot, and more importantly, test our center back combination, which has been okay so far, but I am still worried that we are probably going to have defensive problems, and if any team can exploit that, it's probably Portland.
All right. And Steven, any final thoughts, or Ron, any final thoughts?
Sure. Quick.
Other than the score prediction, but go ahead.
Sure. I think just quickly, we talked a lot about how dangerous Portland is and how dynamic they are going forward. I think it's important to stress that the weakest area of the Timbers is their back four as well, and that if the likes of Molino, Kaká, maybe Nocerino, and certainly Larin, get on the ball and get a chance to run at them, they will trouble Portland as well. I don't want to make this out to be one-sided just because the Timbers won MLS Cup last year. Orlando's got a great front four that I think everybody in Portland is really worried about, and it's probably the most dynamic they've seen. So it will be the most dynamic they've seen so far this year. And I think there's a real question here in the Northwest of how they will be able to respond to Orlando's impressive attack.
Well, I think we become goal dependent on Larin way too often, and if he's not getting service, or if he's not getting balls in the box, and he's not really beating people one-on-one all the time, he kind of makes something out of nothing most of the time, or he gets great service. So, I think if you can cut his service off, or if the ball drops on his feet and he puts it in the back of the net, that's just the magic of having a good striker. Ron, any follow-up points to what I was just talking about in service to Larin, or how that could affect the game or anything along those lines?
Well, Orlando City certainly does have a dynamic front four. I will say that they tend to run out of ideas in the final third. They are definitely reliant on Kyle Larin scoring. But then again, we haven't had Kaká. But, I mean, outside of Kaká and Kyle Larin, really nobody else provided goals for this team last year. And really, to the start of this year, it's kind of been the same thing. Adrian Vinter had one. But it's the Kyle Larin show, which I'm perfectly fine with. If he scores all the goals, he scores all the goals. But they've got to do a little bit better of being able to unlock a defense when they do have possession, and that's where Kaká will be key, because that's why he's here. He's the number 10 for a reason, and he's a good finisher up close. So if Portland gets sloppy in the back, I expect Larin and Kaká to take advantage of that.
And that's where I thought where we really struggled against Chicago is we couldn't unlock them. They just stayed compact, down a man, and that's where we struggled. So if we can't break Portland down, I think we're in trouble. If there's no other final points, we'll go to score predictions. And Steven, you are our guest, so you can go first.
Thank you very much. And I see a very exciting game. I don't know what the rating is on your show, but I think this is a very sexy matchup. Just a very good attacking sides, and I'm really looking forward to watching it. I think it'll be a great display for the league, and I have 3-3.
All right. Ron?
I was thinking 2-2. I thought the New York game a couple weeks ago was going to be high scoring, but both teams were pretty wasteful when they did get opportunities. But yeah, I see goals, and I see goals for both teams, 1-1, 2-2, something like that. I expect. I've been half joking, but it's kind of turned into a real thing that Kyle Larin is a serious contender for the Golden Boot this year. So I expect, probably 2-2. Kyle Larin gets one, and And I think Kaká gets one because if one of those two players doesn't score, I'm not sure that I have confidence in anybody else scoring. Even though they're capable of creating a lot of chances, it's been Larin and Kaká who we have to rely on.
And for me, I think that if we can, I know Portland probably played their worst game of the year against us last year, and we went there and got the win. With that said, if we can beat them at their place, we can beat them at our place. I'm going to go 3-2 Orlando. That's just my thing. So, Ron, you can find Ron at City Soccer Talk. Steven, you want to tell everybody where you can be found?
Sure. On Twitter, I'm at Steven_Agen, A-G-E-N. If you'd please check out my podcast on Pacific Northwest Soccer, that's at Radio_Cascadia, Radio Cascadia, and we release every Wednesday. And on top of that, if you manage to make your way over to the Prost Amerika website, check out our new book that I was fortunate enough to be involved in writing about the Timbers 2015 MLS Cup Championship. Cup Bound and Crowned is available from Powells.com right now.
And then there's me. I'm the only one doing fan TV still, so you know where you'll be able to find me. After the game, I will be out by the drum trailer in Lot 11 doing fan TV. Thanks, guys, for the watch. Peace out.
See ya.